कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन तेरा वनचारी तेरा वनचारी जय राधा कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे परिवार की So let's begin with the Mangalacharan. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunlitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Shtapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Yuta Padkamlam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsa Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagam Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Harijan Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagam Lalita Shri Vishakanitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishvabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Ye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vaevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Jai Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. So I will continue reading from Lilamrita of Srila Prabhupada, and then we will take up today's verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. This is from chapter titled College, Marriage and Gandhi's Movement. Abhay Day's name was included on the posted list of students who had passed the BA exam and who were invited to appear for their diploma. But Abhay had decided that he didn't want a diploma from Scottish Churches College. Although as a graduate, he would have a promising career, it would be a British tainted career. If Gandhi succeeded, India would soon be rid of the British. Abhay had made his decision. And when graduation day arrived, the college authorities learned of his rejecting his diploma. In this way, Abhay registered his protest and signaled his response to Gandhi's call. Gandhi's protest had increased its pitch in recent months. During the war, Indians had remained loyal to the crown in hopes of generating British sympathy towards the cause of independence. But in 1919, England had passed the Rowlatt Act to repress the move for Indian freedom. Gandhi had then called on all Indians to observe a Hartal, a day in which people all over the country had stayed home from work and school in protest. Although it had been a non-violent protest, 1 week later in Amritsar, in the public square known as Jallianwala Bagh, British soldiers shot to death hundreds of unarmed, defenseless Indians who had gathered for a peaceful meeting. Gandhi then lost all faith in the intentions of the empire towards India. Calling for complete non-cooperation, he ordered a boycott of everything British: commodities, schools, courts, military honors. And Abhay, in refusing his degree, was moving to align himself more closely with the Gandhi's independence movement. But his heart was not in it. Just as he had never given his heart to college studies, to earning a degree, to his wife, so he was reserved about becoming a full-fledged nationalist. Abhay had become inclined towards the cause, but never really convinced. Now, out of school, out of work, caring little for his career, education, or wife, he remained at home. He tried his hand in writing poetry for the occasion of a friend's wedding. He read Srimad Bhagavatam and the latest speeches of Gandhi. He had no immediate plans. Prabhupada Lilamrita ki jai. Now we will take up verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. Before that, let's glorify Srimad Bhagavatam. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudire शृण्वतां स्वाकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवण कीर्तना कीर्तयन् स्तोय भद्राणि विद्नोति सुहृत्सताम् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी यत्कीर्तनं यत् श्रवणं यदीक्षणं यद्वन्दनं यत् स्मरणं यदर्हणं लोकस्य सत्यो विदनोति कल्मषम् तस्मै सुभद्रशंसे नमो नमः। निम्नगानां यथा गंगा देवानां अच्युतो यथा वैष्णवानां यथा शंभु पुराणानां इदं तथा. So today's verse is from chapter 17 of Canto 4, verse number 14, which is already written on the board. I will first recite and then you may please do so. Text 14. Before that, let's pay our obeisances to Lord Shri Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Text 14. Pravep Mana Dharani Nishamya Yota Yudham Cha Tam Gahu Satya Apadravat Bhita Bragir Mrigyu Druta Pravekmana Dharani Nishamya Yodayudham Chatam Gahu Satya Apadravat Gahu Satya Apadravat Bhita Bragir Mrigyu Druta Pravekmana Dharani Nishamya Yodayudham Chatam Gahu Satya Apadravat Bhita Bragi Vrigyudruta Pravepamana Dharani Nishamya Yotayudham Chatam Gahu Satya Apadravat Bhita Bragi Vrigyudruta. Pravepamana Dharani Nishamya Yotayudha Chatam Gahu Satya Apadravat Bhita Bragi Vrigyudruta Pravepamana Dharani Nishamya Yodayudham Chatam Gau Satya Apadravat Bhita Mrigyu Mrigivduta Pravepamana Dharani Nishamya Yodayudham Chatam Satya Apadravat Bhita Mrigyu Chatam. Pravepamana Dharani शम्य योतायुधं कृतं गौ सत्य अपाद्रवन्नीता मृगे मृगीता रेपमाना धरणी निशाम्य योतायुधं चतम गौ सत्य अपाद्रवन्नीता मृगीव मृग्योदुता. Word-to-word translation, and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki hai. Pravep mana, trembling. Dharani, the earth. Nishamya, seeing. Udayudham, having taken his bow and arrow. Cha, also. Tam, the king. Gau, a cow. Sati, becoming. Apadravat, began to flee. Bhita, very much afraid. Mrigi, like a deer. Mrigyu, by a hunter. Durta, being followed. Translation. When the earth saw that King Prithu was taking his bow and arrow to kill her, she became very much afraid and began to tremble. She then began to flee, exactly like a deer, which runs very swiftly when followed by a hunter. Being afraid of King Prithu, she took the shape of a cow and began to run. Purport. Just as a mother produces various children, both male and female, the womb of Mother Earth produces all kinds of living entities in various shapes. Thus, it is possible for Mother Earth to take an innumerable shapes. At this time, in order to avoid the wrath of King Prithu, she took the shape of a cow. Since a cow is never to be killed, Mother Earth never thought it. Mother Earth thought it wise to take the shape of a cow in order to avoid King Prithu's arrows. King Prithu, however, could understand this, and therefore he did not stop chasing cow-shaped earth. Hukum karoti vachalam bhangulangayate kirim yat kripatam aham vande Shri Guru Deen Taram. In this, before we look more closely at the purport of this verse, let's have a good understanding about the background of this verse. As these days we are discussing about the descendants of celebrated Dhruv Maharaj, in that line came King Prathu, along with his wife, Mother Archi. King Prathu and Mother Archi appeared wonderfully by the churning of two arms of King Vain. When King Prithu and Mother Archi appeared, they were to be installed immediately as king and queen. And when the coronation ceremony was taking place, all the demigods led by Lord Brahmaji, they appeared in the assembly where the coronation was being held. And they made offering of various celestial gifts to King Prithu, knowing well that King Prithu is none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his incarnation as Shakti Avatar. At this time, Vidurji asks Maitriji, what is the reason that King Prithu had to chase Mother Earth? And why Mother Earth took the shape of a cow? And to preempt any question coming from Maitri Muni, who was responding to the questions of Vidurji, Vidurji says, Yat Chanyat Api Krishnasya Bhavan Bhagavata Prabhu Shava Sushalsa Punyam Purve Kathashaya. Vidurji as I said, preempting any question coming from Maitreya. Why do you want to know why uh, King Prathu chased Mother Earth, or why Mother Earth took that shape? So Vidurji is saying that Yat Chanyat Api Krishnasya, knowing well the fact that King Prathu is Shaktivesh avatar of Lord Shri Krishna, the Supreme Lord. Vidurji says that I want to hear all the glorious narrations of the Supreme Lord and Purve Kathashya in his previous incarnations, because hearing those narrations is Sushava. It's a very pleasing to hear. And also it is punyam. It is purifying. So now what is applicable to Vidurji, similarly applicable to us, because we are doing the same thing. We are also hearing Krishna Katha. So by hearing Krishna Katha, we are getting two benefits immediately in the opinion of Vidurji. One, it is very pleasing to hear. It is a fact. That's why we are sitting here, listening to Krishna Katha every day. And secondly, it purifies us. Moving forward, Maitriji explains as to why King Prithu had to chase Mother Earth. When the citizens in the kingdom of King Prithu were feeling skinny, they were getting skinny because of scarcity of food grains and food. So they approached King, who was as dear to them as King was dear to his citizens. So they complained to King Prathu that we need food grains. So we are not getting sufficient food grains to eat, and therefore we are getting unhealthy. So King Prathu contemplated for a few moments, and he found out the reasons of this problem of scarcity of foods. So he held Mother Earth as responsible for it, and he decided that Mother Earth needs to be punished, because Mother Earth being a kind of demic goddess, and she, since she was getting ovulation in the fire sacrifice, so therefore, in reciprocation, it was expected that Mother Earth will produce sufficient quantities of food grains. So, with that kind of thing in mind, King Prathu decided to punish Mother Earth, and that's where we are now. We heard in the translation of this verse, which we are discussing today, and the others, I'm just repeating that. When the earth saw that King Prithu was taking his bow and arrow to kill her, she became very much afraid and began to tremble. She then began to flee, exactly like a deer, which runs very swiftly when followed by a hunter. Being afraid of King Prithu, she took the shape of a cow and began to run. Now, in the purport, we heard there are three entities. One, King Prithu, other, Mother Earth, and third is cow-shaped Mother Earth. So what we're going to do, we are going to look at the position of these three entities one by one and try to draw some lessons for what we can learn. In regard to King Prithu, let me first take shelter of Acharya. What Acharya has to say. In his book, Teaching of Lord Chaitanya, Srila Prabhu, our dearmost Acharya, has informed about King Prithu while describing the 6 different types of avatar or incarnations of the Lord. Srila Prabhupada writes, and I'm quoting, King Prithu is invested with the power of maintaining all the living beings. So therefore, he is also known as Shakti Vesha. So this is as far as King Prithu is concerned. Now we look at Mother Earth, Bhumi. In Narad Bhakti Sutra number 71, it is stated by Naradji, Modante Pitro, Nrityanti Devata, Sanatha Chayam Bhurbhavti. This is a sutra. Modante Pitro, Nrityanti Devata, Sanatha Chayam Bhurbhavti. Naraji says that when somebody becomes devotee, then what happens? Modante Pitro. Pitro means forefather. They get joy if someone becomes a devotee. Mod means joy and Pitro means forefather. They get joy. We also know that laddu is also known as modak because eating it gives joy. And particularly when it is made by Tilkani Mataji, it is the best laddu in all kind of laddus in Auckland. So, moving forward, when somebody becomes devotee, Modante Pitro, Nirtyanti Devta, demigods start dancing when somebody becomes a devotee, in the opinion of Narad Muni. And then what happens? Sanatha Chayam Bhur Bhur means Mother Earth. And remember, we are discussing about Mother Earth. Sanatha Chayam Bhur Mother Earth feels my master, my maintainer has come. So these are the effects of becoming a devotee. The three entities feel differently. I'm going to quote from the purport of this sutra a small paragraph. What will? It says that the earth is, in the purport, the earth is not a dead mass to be exploited by the human species. Rather, she is a living entity meant to be protected. When the earth is protected, she gives ample space and a peaceful and prosperous residence for all living entities. But when human beings plunder the earth, she seeks protection from a magnanimous devotee. Though a devotee may appear to work as a humble mendicant without much power, our beings and truly learned soul know that a Savior has appeared. All this I am quoting to prove that that Mother Earth is not a dull matter or dull mass. It is a living being. She is a living being. Let's take support from another verse that Mother Earth is a living being. In Srimad Bhagavatam, in first canto, 8th chapter, it contains Kunti Maharani's prayers to Lord Krishna. There are 26 number of verses which contain these prayers from Kunti Maharani to Lord Shri Krishna. When Lord Krishna was about to depart for Dwarka from Hastinapuri after the Mahabharata battle, Lord Krishna went to the palace of the ladies of Hastinapur to pay his respect to Kunti Maharani and also to give darshan to other younger ladies of the palace. When Kunti Maharani saw Lord Krishna, she offered her prayers. First of all, Kunti Maharani was very distressed on knowing the fact that Sri Krishna was leaving them. And she spoke very beautiful emotional verses. I'm going to quote one of the verses, which is very popular. I'm sure all of you know. It says, the Kunti Maharani says, Namo Pankaj Nabhaya, Namo Pankaj Maline, Namo Pankaj Netraya, Namaste Pankaj Angre. Kunti Maharani says that I offer, when she saw Lord Krishna, he says, I offer my obeisances, my humble obeisances to the abdomen of the Lord. Nabhaya means also navel, which is as beautiful as a lotus flower. Now we all know that when we are taking darshan of the Lord, what is the proper etiquette? The proper etiquette is that we have to start from the lotus feet. We go to the legs, thighs, abdomen, chest, lips, cheeks, eyes, and so on. We don't straight away look at the Lord's face. This is the proper etiquette we have been taught by our mentors. But in this verse, we observe that Kunti Maharani is not uh, doing the or not maintaining this particular etiquette. She is straight away saying, Namo Pankaj Nabhaya. And then she says, the Namo Pankaj Maline. Like your face is just like a lotus flower. It also means that you are wearing a very beautiful garland of lotuses. And then she goes to the netra, that is eyes. Your eyes are very beautiful, like lotus flower. But she is not paying obeisances to the lotus feet. So in that sense, she is not observing the proper etiquette. Srila Prabhupada has very kindly explained the reason for this. If she had straight away gone on paying respect to the lotus feet of the Lord, she would have been accused that she is paying obeisances to a personality who also is just like her son. A mother offering obeisances to son, and that too at lotus feet, it is socially not acceptable. So mother Kunti Maharani starts from the navel. Namo Pankaj Nabhaya, Namo Pankaj Maline, Namo Pankaj Netraya, Namaste Pankajante. The last part, after paying obeisances to abdomen, to face, or wearing garland of lotuses, and then she also compares eyes with lotuses. And then finally, she could not hold her feeling. He finally said, Namaste Pankajangre. I offer my obeisances to the lotus feet of the Lord. Now, what is the relevance of this verse with what we are discussing? In 10th canto, chapter 59, Bhumi Devi makes offering of the same verse, word by word. And so far, it is the only verse which I could find in Srimad Bhagavatam, which is duplicated word by word. Bhumi Devi offers this verse when Lord Krishna killed her son, Bhamasura. And he is also known as Narkasura because of his demonic activities. Krishna killed him. And when he was killed, Bhumi Devi appeared before Krishna along with her grandson, son of Narkasura, Bhamasura. And she said the same prayer. Namo Pankaj Navaya, Namo Pankaj Maline, Namo Pankaj Netraya, Namaste Pankajamri. That was the reason I was quoting Kunti. This is again to prove that Mother Earth is a living being, not a dull mass of matter. Particularly those people outside this community who are looking for things like climate change, they must first understand that Mother Earth is a living entity or living being. Third point, which is very quick. When we get up in the morning, most of the Vaishnavas sing a prayer and they seek forgiveness from Mother Earth that I'm touching my feet on you. After, while we are in the bed, on hearing the alarm bell, when we get up, so what do we sing? First, we prepare our obeisances to Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, we sing Mahamantra, and we also sing. We also sing a prayer to Kunti Maharani, which is a daily kind of routine. Samudra Mekhle Devi, Parvastane Mandile, Vishnu Patni Namastubhyam, Pats Pasham Samastume. O Mother Earth, I'm touching my feet on you. You are wife of Lord Vishnu. Please forgive me. Knowing fully well that Mother Earth is a living entity. Samudra Mekhle Devi, Parvastane Mandile, Vishnu Patni Namastubhyam, Pats Pasham Samastume. Those who are not speaking, they can speak from now if they don't know. So all this I said just to prove that Mother Earth is a living entity. Now, as we all know, in Srimad Bhagavatam, there are some chapters which are titled as Geet, like Gopi Geet, Brahmar Geet, Venu Geet, Hamsa Geet, Uddhav Geet. And there is also a chapter in 12th canto known as Bhumi Geet. This also contains some prayers not prayers, it states a position of living entities. So I'm going to take up some verses from that Bhumi Geet. But before that, just because there is a connectivity, I'm going to quote two verses from the previous chapter, which is titled as Symptoms of Kali Yuga. In the last two verses, Shukdev Goswami talks about the position of materialistic kings vis-a-vis their position or propensity to acquire or conquer earth. And then Shukdev Goswami also tells the consequence of that. So in the first verse, it is the second last verse of the second chapter of 12th canto. And then last verse I have quoted. So Shukdev Goswami says that Tejo ba anmayam kayam garet atmataya abudha mahimam taya chobo hitva ante adarshanam gata. Those abudha, those foolish, Buddha means intelligent, abudha means foolish people. Those who think this body as me or I, this body made of tejo, fire, ab, water, an, made of earth, kayam is body. Tejo ba anmayam kayam, garhetvatmataya abudha. Those who accept this as me and I, this body, and then also mahim mamtaya chobu, and they consider this land as mine. Hitwante, at the end, they both disappear. We all know, we have experience, we have direct experience, people leaving their body. But the body leaves, and they also have to leave the land. So even while we are alive, one thing is surely going to happen. Either we're going to leave the land or land is going to leave us when we sell the land property. So the both of them, hitwante adarshanam gata, the both of them go into oblivion. When it happened, when I was reading this, I remembered a very nice verse from Bhagavad Gita. Though may not be very popular, but it is a very nice verse. In 228, chapter 2, verse number 28. Avyaktadini bhutani vyakt vadhyani evcha avyakt nanyeva tantra ka paridev. We come from unmanifest in the beginning. Like I'll say for myself, I have a particular body with certain height, with certain weight. Few years before, it did not exist. The first part of the verse is saying, Avakta Deni Bhutani. All living beings come from Avyakt, unmanifest. In the middle, it stays for some time. And at the end, it disappears. That is the reality of our existence. And then therefore, Lord Krishna says to Arjuna, and through Arjuna to us, do not lament. Tatra ka paridevana. Srila Prabhupada very nicely explained in the purport of this verse to understand our reality of our existence with a skyscraper, a high-rise building. If we see, even in Auckland, at certain spots, there were no high-rise buildings. But suddenly they're coming up, like one in the Lincoln, at the end of the Lincoln Road. There was a plain ground or some small building, but now it's a high-rise building, maybe 8 to 10 floors. But when, in due course of time, it will be demolished, it will again be merged into the earth. So that's also the reality of our existence. So, Shukdev Goswami is saying that it is a kind of foolish people who think that this body is I and me, and the land is mine. Our focus can be only on land or mine. The land is mine. The land, nobody owns any land. All this property belongs to Krishna. That's what Upanishad says. Yeah, that's what Upanishad says. I'm trying to remember the first word. Ishavas idam sarvam yat kinchit jantam dena. This land does not belong to us. This land belongs to Krishna. In the next verse, last verse of second chapter, Shukdev Goswami says, Ye ye bhupati o rajan bhutte bhumam ojsa kalente kita sarve katha matra kita sakya. All these kings, ye ye bhupati o rajan, King Parikshit, all these kings who by their prowess try to enjoy Mother Earth, by Kalente Krita, by the force of time, they will become just historical figures. Nobody is going to bother about them. So now, listening to the words of Shukdev Goswami, in the third chapter, Bhumi Devi, which is titled as Bhumi Devi, Mother Earth says, Yam Visarjiye Manavas Tatsutas Kurutvaha Gata Yatha Gatam Yuddhe Tamam Janate Buddhaya. And next verse, Mat Kite Pitra Putranam Bhratranam Chapi Vigraha Jayate Asatam Rajye Mamta Bachet Sam. I'm now running a bit fast because I have to touch a very interesting topic. I'm going to straight away read the translation of these two verses. O best of the Gurus, the earth continued as follows. Although in the past great men and their descendants have left me, departing from the world, in the same helpless way they came into it. Even today, foolish men are trying to conquer me. Mother Earth is saying, remember? And then in the last verse, and the second verse of Bhumi Geet, Mother Earth says, for the sake of conquering me, materialistic persons fight one another. Father oppose their son, brother fight for one another because their hearts are bound to possessing political powers. It is for what we can learn for devotees who are having the mentality of acquiring property after property after property. So this is a reminder of the situation that if you own more than what you require, what is going to happen? Hearing this, hearing the pathetic situation of the living beings or the human beings in the Kali Yuga, Parikshit Maharaj raises question with Shukdev Goswami. Parikshit Maharaj says he is filled with compassion at this stage and is looking for some kind of solution to the problem. So Parikshit Maharaj says, Keno payen Bhagavan kale doshan kalau jana vidhamnishtat upchitam tanme brubhi yatha mune. Hey, great sage Shukdev Goswami, if you feel it appropriate, please tell what by which means the living being in Kali Yuga can get rid of the defects which they have acquired, upchitams. Then Shukdev Goswami quotes very popular verse which is known to everyone. Kaler dosh de rajan asti hai eko mahan guna kirtanad e Krishna se mukta sangha param vijay. The only means of getting rid of the defects of Kali Yuga is what? Kirtan of Krishna. Kirtanad e Krishna se. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare. Why? Because in the age of Kali Yuga, there is no other means. Trite yad dhyayato Vishnu, tretayam yadito matai, dvapare paricharyam, kalau tadari kirtana. In other ages, there were other means of getting deliverance. Trite yad dhyayato Vishnu. In Satyug, you can meditate on Lord Vishnu. In Dwapara, you can do yagnas and so on. But in Kali Yuga, the only means is to chant the holy name. So this is what all I have to say on the Mother Earth. Now the last part, cow, which is interesting. And I request for your kind attention. In 11th chapter, 11th canto, in response to Uddhava's question, Shri Krishna, Bhagavan himself informs that there are 11 entities to whom he can be worshipped. And Mother Earth and cow are among them. The verse says, Suryo Agnir Brahmana Gavo Vaishnavakam Marujjalam Bhuratma Sarvbhutani Badra Puja Padani Ne. Surya, sun, Agnir, fire, Brahmanas, Gavo, cow, Vaishnavas, come, sky, Maruj, wind, Jalam, water, Bhur, earth, Mother Earth, Atma, self, Sarv Bhutani, all living beings. Bhadra Puja Patani. Puja Patani means this word indicates the all-pervasiveness nature of the Lord. Even though Lord can be worshipped in these 11 entities or living beings, but still they are not Krishna. If someone thinks that everything is Krishna, in the purport it is written that this is third-class Krishna consciousness. I'm just quoting from there. So we have to clearly understand that Krishna is Krishna, and no matter you can worship them as Krishna, but still they do not constitute as Krishna. Now the last part about cow, the relationship of cow with Krishna. In Krishna Karnamritam of Leela Shuk Bilva Mangal Thakur, there is a very nice verse which I could locate. And that verse I'm going to explain and then I will close. So just maybe 5-7 minutes. And this verse speaks about the relationship of different types of devotees with Krishna. Gopal ajir kard mein viharse, vipradvare lajjase. Brushe gokul hunkrite stutir, shetair monam vidhatse vidham. Dasyam gokul panchalishu kurushe, swamnatan tatsu. Gyatam Krishna Twangri Yugam, sorry, Gyatam Krishna Twangri Pankaj Yugam, Premachalam Anjulam. What it says in what the Bilva Mangal Thakur is saying, Gopal Ajir Pradme Viharse. In Vrindavan or in Gokul, more particularly, Krishna in the cowshed, in the cowshed in swamp, like the cow dung, and when cow dung is mixed with water, it's become kind of feature swamp, and in that Krishna viharse. Viharse means he plays very nicely with Anand. Like, we have a boat festival. Its Hindi equivalent is Nauka Vihar. Vihar means it's a very nicely, you walk or you float or whatever, but with pleasure. So the verse says that in cow dung, which is laid on the earth, Krishna walks very nicely with pleasure. Vipradvare lajjase. But in the yagna kundas or fire sacrifice places of Brahmanas, he feels shy of going there. Those Brahmanas who are highly qualified, they create a very nice yagna kundas, fire sacrifices, and sometimes it is laden with gold and other jewels. But Krishna likes to going to the Gopalangane. Kardame means teacher. He loves walking there. But when those Brahmana invoke his presence, he feels shy of going there. And then Brushe Gokul Hunkrite. When in the cowshed, the cows, they make some kind of sound like mooing. Is it the cow speaks? And Krishna makes 100 types of questions to them. He talks to them. He says, what do you want? Water? You want grass? Or you want to be untied? Krishna talks to them. But those stuti shatair monam vidatse vidam. But those who are making 100 types of prayers to Krishna, he does not respond. Third part, Dasyam Gokul Panchalishu. He accepts the servitude. He becomes servant of the gopis in Gokul. But when some great sages who have controlled Dantatsu, who have controlled all their senses, including mind, and they pray to Krishna, come and stay in the lotus of our heart and be its owner. Krishna doesn't listen. He does not accept this. He does not accept the ownership of those who are very much self-controlled, perfect yogis. But he accepts the servitude of gopis. In the case of gopis, I heard Vrindavan Maharaj explaining, as I'm going to repeat. Sometimes happened that gopis request Krishna to help in picking up cow dung. And the cow dung is collected in a kind of pan, which in my native language it is called tasla. And it is very difficult to pick up by one person. But it is very easy if you get a help. Two together, put it on the head, and it is taken out for next process. So Gopi says, Krishna, please help. Krishna says, no. Why should I help? Okay, I'll help, but I'll charge something. Gopi says, what? So Krishna says, I'll take handful of butter, fresh butter, lamba. So now the salary is decided. The Krishna, for lifting up, you will get butter. Now the problem is that there is no what is called calculator or counter to count, because there are a number of cows and there's a lot of cow dung. It is to be lifted. So it is decided between gopis and after negotiation, it is decided that each time Krishna, you help in picking up one pan, we will give you one handful of butter. Now there is no paper and pen in that situation. So it is further agreed that each time you pick up one, there will be a mark on your cheek with the cow dung only. So he picks up and then gopis put a mark. And Krishna, who is also known as Atmaram, he has greed for gopis' butter. When he sees that gopis are looking other way, he also dips his finger in the cow dung and puts 2, 3 on his mouth. So that is Krishna's situation. So then, in the last part of the verse is saying, Gyatum Krishna Tvangari Pankajam Yugam Premna Achalam Manjulam. Now it is known that Krishna, you can be obtained only by loving devotional service to you, not by any other, like the gopis. So, and we also heard through this verse how dear cows are to Krishna. So with that verse, I will give a pause to my talk. That's all I have to say. Grantha Srimad Bhagavatam ki. If you have any comment or point to make, please say. So can you speak a little louder? Mhm. I'll rephrase your question for my understanding. So you said that because of the fact that there are a lot of things which are not as per the Vedic standards, For instance, buying milk from supermarket, and that comes in plastic containers or plastic pouches. So, and then also it affects environment. And how do we balance these kind of activities? Is that what you asked, more or less? Okay. Uh, we do understand, we all do understand that we are not into Vedic times, and Kali Yuga has its own bad effects on us. And therefore, I will again resort to that verse which I quoted, Rajan Astiyan Hayeko Mohan Guna. We can continue to have our focus only on chanting, and that's how we can get rid of these. But deliberately, we all can avoid any situation which can aggravate the breaching of those norms which are laid by Vedic authorities. And that's all we can do, in my humble understanding.
So, as my thinking that the modern age is opposite what was the primitive, the earlier days when I was child, I see in India, how we are respecting the cow. So that is the way we can balance. That is the way we can balance. We love cow, we don't give the injection to the cow. Like a natural way, cool and cow will then we take the cow down, we put food with the cow down, and cow down is so pure, so antiseptic. So we put in the house, our art becomes unpolluted. So that is the way. But if we go that way, then the relationship with the art and how we respect art is happy, how is happy. But because of the modernization, we want fast, more. So we are giving all the modern technique, and we are following the modern technique. So balance between earth and the cow, we are doing.
Yeah.
That is it. So if we want to put the balance of cow and earth, we have to remove the modernization. But Krishna, what he has written in our Shastra, we can follow. There will be some balance between the earth and our body. Only that is the way we can, and Shastra says us to balance the natural way, not the modern technique. So that is the only way we can.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for raising. Just allow me to say something on the energy or cow dung used as fuel. I heard Bhaktivedanta Maharaj saying that even in the fuel there are gradations. First class fuel is cow dung only, and then next he says that next is coal, and third is electricity, and that way there is a gradation. And the food cooked on these kind of fuels, it also has implication on our living. Now, Mataji, please. Yeah. Yes, I agree. That's probably it. I agree. Which one? Oh, okay. There is a, I think you Google it and you find it. And but there is a small book I remember maybe 10 years before I read it. This was about the etiquettes of when you become when you try to be a part of this wonderful community in Islam. So there are some basic things which are explained in that. So I picked up long before from that. It's a, I can repeat that verse if you want to look at it in Google. I don't know exactly source. Must be one of the Shrutis. It must be from one of the Vedic literature. Samudra mein ekle devi samudra parvat stane mandile Vishnu patni namastubhyam parsparshan shamastu. You can, if you are not chanting, you can start chanting. Yes, Prabhu. Like I remember when a devotee was rearing cow in the farm, he used to give against certain cost to devotees, and we used to buy that milk. And now the milk is also um, divided into two parts, like hinsa mill or ahimsa mill. And there are some devotees who try to get milk from cows which are being reared not in the way they are being reared by other people. So they try to procure milk from those sources. But I would also say that we can do as much as we can. For instance, even in our temple, the milk which is offered to deities or to even to make various kind of dishes, it is same milk which we get from market, and to nourish our body, which is which is required for devotional service, it is necessary that we eat food which is available. So while I think most important part is that we remain conscious of the fact that what is right and what is wrong. And then we avoid as much as possible getting involved in anything which is wrong. But then we also have to admit that we can accept few things which are not as per Vedic standard. But important thing is that we keep our focus only on chanting. But that is the Tanisha for everything. Akama sarv kamu ma moksha kamu dhardi. Tivren bhakti yogena yajat purusham param. Whatever desire you have, it can only be fulfilled by process of bhakti. Yeah. Yeah. That's why Shukdev Goswami is saying that Kale dosh nidhe rajan. Nidhe means is a kind of sea of defects. This Kali Yuga is sea of defects. But to how to get rid of this situation of defects? Sankirtan. Kale dosh nidhe rajan. But still it has a very big quality that just by chanting. Otherwise, if you come across from Srimad Bhagavatam, in Satyoga, you have to perform meditation for 100,000 years. to achieve what is achievable in the Kali Yuga by just chanting. So on the one hand, there are lot of defects in Kali Yuga, but on the other hand, for deliverance, the method is very simple, just chanting. In the verse I had quoted, Krite Yadhyato Vishnu. In the Satyug, meditation requires for 100,000 years. And the purpose is same, the objective is same, deliverance. But the same deliverance in Kali Yuga can be achieved only by chanting. So Vedic literature does recognize the defects of living in this current age of Kali Yuga, or what you call it, what you said, like civilization. But then we can balance by being conscious of this fact that there are a lot of defects, but what we can do for it, and that is Sankirtan movement, very kindly given to humanity by Prabhu. Introduced to, it was already there, but introduced to us by Srila. We can always remain grateful to Srila. Yes, please.
Very quick question.
Sure.
Verse we read today, that verse we heard that the woman of producing was giving it and the punishment. But as we know that Krishna Maharaj was from other areas, we read that Krishna under his kingdom, like nobody was happy, they were like there was no disease, everybody was basically fully satisfied. So what was the reason why everyone was feeling that?
You think you're asking why Prithu Maharaj had to took the bow and
Yeah, earlier like last week when Raj Swami had to give the talk, he was talking about how great Prithu Maharaj was as a king,
yeah,
and everybody was like, yeah, like
yeah.
everything was available.
No, there was not everything available. There was scarcity of food grains. And therefore, the citizens approached Prithu Maharaj and complained that, look, we are not getting sufficient food. And then Prithu Maharaj thought over it. What is the reason? And then he found that, yeah, Mother Earth is not reciprocating.
Yeah, that's not a question. If Prithu Maharaj is spectatorship stuff, and if he was performing on his duty, according to that, not to provide and provide that everything that people providing.
Are you saying that why Mother Earth was not producing? Is that your question? I think that we will hear once we move forward in the few days coming. It will be revealed in the next few verses. Surely. Yeah.
The last week, like everything that became king. So
yeah. 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 Even at that time, everybody was, we cannot say that everybody was happy because they were not getting sufficient food at that stage. But once there was a talk between Mother Earth and King Prithu, where Mother Earth agreed to be milked by King Prithu, and that's how the food will start coming in. So on this particular question, why Mother Earth was not doing, we will hear it in the next few days. Hare Krishna. That's all, we can close it. It's already 9. Thank you very much for patiently listening. Janta Shrivan Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.